Today I'm going to show you how to make these really soft, fun fingerless gloves. I have made a pair for myself, and I will show you how to make these for yourself. We start with a simple ribbed cuff, work a half double crochet V-stitch pattern all the way up, creating a little space for our thumb and then a few extra rows to cover the fingers. In this video I am using the Flex by Loops and Threads, and I recently did a sort of a yarn review on this yarn specifically, and I'll link that video in the description box down below. I did a review on this, and in the review I said I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I didn't know how it would work up. I didn't even know what to make with it. Well, somebody commented and gave me the wonderful idea of doing fingerless gloves. So here we are. And to be honest, I love how they came out. So I'm going to show you how to do that today using this yarn, but of course you can use any yarn that you like, any yarn that you have on hand. I made 2 gloves and I still have a pretty full ball of yarn here. For this tutorial I am also using a 6mm crochet hook. You'll also need scissors and of course our favorite yarn needle to weave in those ends. To start, we're going to put a slip knot right onto our hook, and we're going to start by chaining 7. Now this chain 7 is for the ribbing, so we're going to be working this way right now and creating this ribbing. If you want your ribbing to be wider, go ahead and add a few more chains to your foundation row, and that way your ribbing will be a little bit wider here. Now I just did a foundation chain of 7 and worked back and forth, single crocheting into the back loops only for the 6 stitches, back and forth, back and forth. So once you have the number of stitches or the length that you want for your ribbing, all you want to do is go back into every stitch and just put a single crochet. One, two, three, four, five, 6. I have my 6 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. To start the ribbing, we want to work a single crochet into the back loop. So you want to ignore these front loops here, and you want to work into those back loops. This first one is always a little bit tough to get because you've got your yarn here that keeps getting in the way, but if you kind of put your hook right in between those 2 stitches, pull up a loop, single crochet, and the next one is easier to see. You want this back one right here, and single crochet. At the end of each row, you should always have the same number of stitches, one less than what you had for your foundation chain. So I had 7. I will always have 6 because that last chain that we do acts as the chain 1 or the turning chain for each row. Chain 1, turn, work in the back loops only, single crocheting all the way across. So I'm always going to have 6 stitches in this ribbing. You may have more if you decide you want a longer rib for your little fingerless glove. So as you can see here, right now we are just working back and forth this ribbing. Keep working it until it fits snugly around, up, however high you want this little fingerless glove to go, and we will connect these ends and start working the actual pattern. Alright, so I have worked 20 rows of the ribbing, which is about 6 to 7 inches. Now yours may be shorter or longer depending on your wrist size, but do note that this ribbing does stretch, so you want it to be really pretty snug around your wrist or your forearm, so don't over crochet because this will grow and this will stretch. So just note that. You don't want to have to pull it out. And of course you can slip stitch these together and put it around your wrist, you know, up through your fingers and onto your hand, just to see if you need to take out any rows or add any rows. So now we're going to fold this little piece of rib fabric in half, put the two sides like so, and just make sure everything looks good, it's not twisted at all. And we're just going to work across the top. So you've got your working yarn on this end, and you just want to put in a slip stitch, and I'm going to work into the back loop of these. But because you're just joining, it's however you are most comfortable in joining these two pieces together. If it's too difficult to find the back loops of this side, then slip stitch them together as best as you can. Now I'm going to go in to the next stitch, and I'm trying to work in my back loops, but like I said, it may be difficult to find that back loop, and I'm just going to slip stitch. Find the next stitch and just slip stitch all the way across. Once you have slip stitched, you should have something that looks like this. It is the little cuff of your fingerless glove. For the pattern, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to be working in the round around our cuff, and this will build our fingerless glove up towards our fingers. So you can kind of see there's little spaces here, and what you're going to want to do is just work a half double crochet into each space around as evenly as you can. So I'm going to work right back into that same space where I came out of, where I chained 1 out of, and then I'm just going to work a half double crochet as evenly as I can around my cuff. And you can see usually there's a space on either side of the little ridge. But you just want to work a half double crochet all the way around as evenly as possible into those spaces. And this will set us up to start working the pattern for our fingerless glove. You can see I'm getting back towards where we started and joined. So I'm just going to work another half double crochet. When you get to this point, you can slip stitch to join that round of half double crochet. And that just sort of gets us a nice stitch to work into after we joined our cuff together. So now we have a nice set of stitches on the top. Now for the pattern. Chain 1, half double crochet into that same stitch, chain 1, half double crochet into that same stitch. So you're essentially working a half double crochet V-stitch here. Skip the next and work a single crochet into the next, skip the next, and half double crochet V-stitch into the next. Skip the next, single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, and a half double crochet V-stitch into the next stitch. And this is the pattern all the way around. Your stitch count shouldn't matter. I will show you what to do if you end on a V-stitch or a single crochet or a skipped stitch. Alright, so I just put a single crochet in there. That would be my skip stitch, and I'm back here where I did my first V-stitch. So what I'm going to do is just put a half double crochet into that last stitch. If you ended on a V-stitch, so instead of a single crochet here, you could just put a single crochet into this stitch. You just want to join it as seamlessly as possible. And there we go. You've got your little V-stitch separated by a skip stitch, single crochet, skip stitch. For the next round, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to find our V-stitches. We want to work a V-stitch into every V-stitch. Alright, so here is where we chained 1, find your V-stitch, and work a half double crochet V-stitch. Half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. You're going to skip the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and that stitch should sit right next to your next V-stitch. So what do we do in a V-stitch? We work a V-stitch. Half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. We're going to skip that next stitch, work a single crochet into the next stitch, and there's our V-stitch again. We're going to work a V-stitch into the top, into that chain 1 space of the V-stitch, skip the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and we're back at a V-stitch. So you work right into that chain 1 space of that V-stitch, do a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, skip the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch. We are back at a V-stitch, so we work a V-stitch into that V-stitch. Skip that next chain, single crochet into the next, and I am back here. So here is where I chained 1. We're just going to join with a slip stitch. And that's how you work the pattern for as long as you want from your forearm to your thumb. So once you start working it and you can slide it on, you'll be able to see how many rows you need to do before you hit your thumb. And at that point, we will create our little thumb hole. All right. So you would just keep going until your work starts to hit your thumb. And then we will work the thumb hole and then finish off with a few more rows for our fingers. After you work a few rows, I highly suggest trying it on over your wrist and up to your forearm as high as you want it to go, and make sure that it's not too tight or not too loose. If you find that your work is really tight and it's snug but uncomfortably snug, go ahead and take out your rows. The row that we worked of just half double crochet, that first row after we joined our cuff, go ahead, take it out and add some more half double crochets in there, and that will give you more stitches to work in the round, and it will make your little glove a little bit less snug and more comfortable to wear. Same goes if you try this on and it is way too big. Pull it out and work less half double crochets in that first round, and that will give you less stitches to work around, and that will make it more snug. Okay, so just keep trying on your little fingerless glove to give yourself an idea of the fit. Everybody is different, everybody's tension is different, so it does help to just try it on. If it's not fitting right, take some rows out, readjust your stitches on that initial half double crochet row right after the ribbing, and see if you can get a stitch count that is a perfect fit for you. Alright, so I have worked up until the length measures about 6 inches from the bottom of our little cuff all the way up. It's now time to work a thumb hole. So to do that, we're going to work the pattern in the same way. So I'm going to chain 1, work a V-stitch into the V-stitch from the previous row, and I'm just going to work the pattern all the way around as we've been doing, but I'm not going to join at the end. I just worked my last V-stitch into the V-stitch from the previous round. This is normally where I would go ahead and put a single crochet, which I'm still going to do, and then I would join to the space right here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to work back around. So you'll be creating this little space here because you're not going to join. When you get to this point, you're going to chain 1 and work back. And you want to do this for about 5 rows. So I've chained 1, turned, find that V-stitch and work your V-stitch into it. And you're just working backwards. So instead of working in the round, we're now turning our work. So there's my next V-stitch, but I need to put that single crochet. I'm going to skip this stitch, put a single crochet in in the next stitch, and then work my V right into that V-stitch from before. Skip a stitch and single crochet into the next and continue on. And always remember, you can kind of tell where you did not join. You just don't want to miss it on these first few rows, because sometimes it's not obvious yet where that space will be. Alright, so here's where my thumb space will be. I'm going to work this last V-stitch. And you can probably hear my dog snoring over there on the couch. Now, before you chain one and turn, make sure you put in a single crochet just to even up the edges. Chain one after you do your single crochet, turn, and then you can work in the round, or sorry, work back around. But remember, work, I'd say 5 rows back and forth without joining. Try it on and see how your thumb fits in that space. If you need to add or take away one of those rows, feel free. So I'm going to keep working this for another 3 rows. Try it on, see how my thumb fits in that space, and then if it's good, I will show you how to close up that space and finish off the last few rounds of our glove. Alright, so I have worked 5 rows, tried it on, made sure I liked the space for that little thumb hole. Works fine for me. I am on the end of this row, so I just worked a single crochet. I have to work my last V-stitch. I'm going to put a single crochet in just to even up that side. At this point, I can go ahead and join these 2 ends together. So we're going to be working in the round again. So I'm just going to put a slip stitch in, chain 1, continue on with my pattern. Got my V-stitch here, going to work a V-stitch, chain 1, working half double crochets for my V-stitch. Going to skip 2, put a single crochet, or skip 1, single crochet in the next, and we're right up against that V-stitch, so I'm going to work a V-stitch. Skip 1, single crochet in the next, and a V-stitch into the V-stitch. So the pattern will stay the same. You want to work 3 more rows in the round now. So we're just going to keep working around for 3 rows. Again, try it on. If you want your fingers to be covered a little bit more, work another row, try it on. If you want more, keep going until you have the length that you want and that fits your hand. Going to put a single crochet in, slip stitch to join, and I'm going to slip stitch one more time into the next stitch before I fasten off, just to secure it. Cut my yarn, pull that up. There's our thumb hole with a few extra rounds for the fingers, and we've got our cuff here. Now if you want to do a finishing edging, we want to do is start with a slip knot, and I'm going to pull that off from my hook. Here is here's where I ended, where my fingers are. I'm going to go ahead and put my hook in. You can choose any stitch really around here. Just put your hook in, put that little slip knot on, tighten it up, pull it through like that. Once you have that secure, just chain one and just work around, putting single crochets into stitches around your thumb, the space for your thumb, and that will just kind of give it a little bit of a finishing edge. It's not necessary, but if you want a little extra on your fingerless glove, then it's nice to have this little edging around your thumb. You can work this all the way around. If you feel like you need an extra row of single crochet or even just a slip stitch around, you can do that as well. I'm just going in evenly, trying to find spaces and stitches around that thumb space that we created to make a nice finishing edge. Get this little tail out of the way. And you're back where we started here, so I'm just going to finish up with a few and slip stitch to the stitch that we started with, and then you've got a little finishing edge. I'm going to go ahead and fasten this off, weave in my tails, and then try them on. And there we are. 2 pink, really soft, really cozy little fingerless gloves. Finished off the thumb hole with a single crochet edging. We got the ribbing up here. It's a really pretty quick project. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Happy crocheting, everyone. Bye.